Hello, I'm Diane Trees. As the debate over student debt and the relevancy of higher education rages on, the Georgetown Public Policy Institute report states that by 2020, 65% of all jobs in the economy will require post-secondary education and training beyond high school. Our next guest, Dr. Kathleen Plinsky, serves as campus president for Valencia College's Osceola, Lake Nona, and Point Siena campuses. Dr. Plinsky, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Your website talks about never leaving the questions behind about what your institution, the purpose, what it exists for. What is your thought about the State College role in Florida?
So I believe that state colleges are designed to serve the community. And of course, community college is our traditional name. And sometimes folks will accidentally say Valencia Community College and then quickly apologize as if there's something wrong with being a community college. There's nothing to be ashamed of for being a community college. They play such a vital role in terms of serving the community. So our role is to work with the community to identify what the needs are and how best to prepare for our community's future.
Now, the state colleges, has the role changed or the focus since the recession?
Again, I think because the needs of the community have changed somewhat, I think that the role of the college has changed in response to those needs. So we continue to offer an Associate of Arts degree, which intends to prepare students for transfer to baccalaureate programs. We also offer Associate in Science degree programs, which are intended to prepare students directly for the workforce. And in addition, we offer short-term training programs, which are intended to prepare individuals for high-wage, high-skill jobs.
Let me back up a minute and ask you, why do you consider higher education then, and especially in terms for a community college, state college, why is that a sound investment?
Individuals in Central Florida who earn an associate's degree over the course of their lifetime earn $500,000 more than an individual who only has a high school diploma. So for personal financial reasons, it's a wonderful investment. I think it's also important, as you mentioned, the recession. There's been research done by Georgetown University that since the recession, 11.6 million new jobs were created. Of those, only 80,000 jobs went to individuals with just a high school diploma. So quite literally, 99% of new jobs require some sort of post-secondary education. May not mean a full bachelor's degree, may not even mean a full associate's degree, but the jobs today require something beyond a high school education.
I saw a report out of Georgetown, and I think it was projecting that by 2020, 65% of all jobs will require some form of education beyond a high school diploma. That's pretty amazing, and we're almost at 2020. Well, let me ask you then, when I looked at your curriculum, some of your programs, it seemed that you were pretty well focused on economic development. Along with that, then, has that always been the case? Or is that a newer kind of strategy? And am I right in saying that?
We certainly are involved in helping to develop the community's economy. And again, I think depending on the sort of time or the decade that you look at, the specific response will have changed just based on what the community needed. So you will see degree programs that we've always offered. We've had a very successful program in allied health, in nursing, in hospitality management, of course. And you'll see new degree programs. For example, we just started a biotechnology degree program at the Lake Nona campus in response to Medical City emerging in that area. We're adding a property management degree program at the Osceola campus in response to employers' needs. And we're actually doubling our nursing program because of the needs of our healthcare community. So it's always been part of who we are and what we do, and the specific way that we execute it just depends on the community's immediate needs.
So the role and the focus can change a little bit depending on the situation. Now, with the emphasis on economic development and then more of an emphasis on STEM careers, the science, technology, engineering, and math, you said you still offer humanities and the arts. Is that part of the general curriculum?
It absolutely is. Our general education curriculum is core to who we are at Valencia, and we take that very seriously. We think it's very important for our students to be well-rounded, to have that liberal arts education, to be critical thinkers, to understand ethical responsibility, just to develop that sense of good citizenship. So certainly our Associate in Arts, which is that transfer degree, has a very large general education core curriculum, but all of our Associate in Science degree programs, those degree programs that are intended to prepare students directly for the workforce, also have a very significant general education component.
Now, I know that you partner with some businesses and corporations to help develop and design your curriculum. Can you talk a little bit about why you do that and why it's important?
Certainly, we want to make sure that students, when they complete a degree program, are prepared and have the skills and abilities that our employers are looking for. And the best way to do that is to ask, is to simply partner with local employers and understand what is it that they need. They help us understand new programs that we might not have thought to offer without their input. I think a great example is our recent development of the Advanced Manufacturing Training Center, which opened in Kissimmee. And in that facility, we're able to offer training programs that are 6 weeks, 12 weeks in length, things like computer numerical control, mechatronics, programmable logic board assembly, and individuals who complete those training programs find jobs at $18, $20 an hour, and it's life-changing. And then if they want to continue their education and go for a degree, we welcome them, but they're able to take that important next step in their career.
So that's really a double win then, because your students graduate with jobs, and then you have the local companies who have a prepared workforce, especially with a manufacturing venture such as Bridge. That's huge.
That's absolutely right. And really, it's because the employers have said to us, we can't find trained employees. Can you help us prepare the workforce of the future? Similar thing happened with construction, that there simply aren't enough individuals who have the skills in construction to fill all of the jobs. And so we've started a 5-week basic construction program where individuals are actually getting job offers before they complete the program.
Wow. And then that way, I was curious too. So you're not going out and searching. It's not difficult to find people to partner with. It sounds like they're more than willing to make this arrangement.
It definitely works both ways. We definitely look for other opportunities to partner and seek great partners, but certainly there have been individuals who have contacted us and asked to partner with us, so we're really, really proud of that.
And then you're also then watching the different professions where you see the shortage, like you mentioned, the nursing program, so that you can anticipate, especially in Florida, what some of our specific needs might be.
Precisely.
Very good. Dr. Polinsky, not all higher education is going to lead to a 4-year, 2-year degree, and I saw that you had quite a few certificate programs. Can you talk about what that means to have a certificate? What does that encompass?
Mm-hmm. So we have certificate programs that tend to be 12 credit hours to 30 credit hours. So that means it's about 4 credit courses all the way up to 8 credit courses. They tend to be certificates that students complete on the way to a degree. So it's sort of a milestone on the way to completing that associate in science degree, but they're recognized by employers. They mean something. They indicate that students have developed a certain skill set. And oftentimes they're in specialty areas. So we have technical certificates in IT and computer programming, in 3D printing. We have specialized certificates in hospitality management, in many of our arts and entertainment degree programs, so that they're a way that students can complete a certificate in a shorter time frame. We recognize that there's a significant opportunity cost to go into college, and oftentimes 2-year degree is a very long-term horizon. For some of our students who are working part-time or full-time, they may only be able to attend college part-time, so a 2-year degree might take 4 or 5 years. By being able to complete that certificate, they're able to demonstrate to employers more quickly that they have developed the skills that the employers are seeking.
Now, can someone who is not enrolled in a 2-year program, can they just enroll for a certificate?
Absolutely.
What advantage, what's the value then of that certificate over just having a high school diploma?
It communicates to employers that they have developed this specified skill set that is in high demand. We also offer, through continuing education, industry certifications, and those would be things like that manufacturing program, like the construction program. All of those programs result in students earning an industry certification, and again, that can happen as quickly as 5 weeks. So if someone is working multiple minimum wage jobs, just trying to make ends meet, the idea of going to college for multiple years is simply outside of the realm of possibility. But maybe, could I find a way to go to class for 5 weeks and be able to transform myself from making $9 an hour to maybe $14, $15 an hour? That's transformational. And then we're happy to talk about what's next after that if they're interested in continuing their education.
What is your student body? I mean, it sounds like you have quite a diverse age, gender, experience Is that the case?
Yes, it's wonderful that the diversity of Central Florida is reflected in our student body. So we have students from quite young, high school students that are in dual enrollment programs. We actually have students who complete college degrees before they graduate from high school. And then we have parents and grandparents who oftentimes will graduate at the same time that their child does. It's really a tremendous
marvelous.
story. It is, and we're really proud of our open access tradition. That will never change. So we admit anyone with a high school diploma or a GED, and that's critical to our community, that when doors may have been closed in other places, we will work with that student, we will help them achieve their dreams, and in some cases, and I hope, that we help them create dreams that maybe they never could have envisioned for themselves before stepping foot on one of our campuses.
Well, you have quite a distinguished career you've established already with community colleges and the state colleges. What is it that rewards you the most in what you do?
I love seeing the transformation that occurs in our students. I love walking alongside them as they pursue their dreams. Oftentimes, our students have been told they're not college material, that they'll never amount to anything. And to be part of their journey as they prove everyone wrong is incredible. I was really struck by a photograph that was taken in January. I saw a photograph of a number of our alumni, and I was looking at each of them, and they all came to Valencia with very negative labels. They were high school dropouts, a convicted felon, undocumented immigrants, teen moms, right? They all had wonderful reasons and excuses to not go to college. And this photograph represented truly our honors graduates, individuals who graduated with honors, who graduated with 4.0s, who were named distinguished graduates. And it's so incredible to see the transformation that occurred in their lives when they had the courage to come to campus. My hope is that they were received by faculty and staff who believed in them, who understood that they could achieve anything that they wanted, regardless of their past. And to see what they have become, it's just incredible. It's so rewarding. I can't imagine that there would be a more rewarding job in the world.
Well, it's wonderful with all the students that you deal with that you have that passion for them. They're fortunate to have you there as well.
Thank you so much.
Now, you said with the array of students that you have, you still have students that come in that have a 4.0 from high school and they choose. So you have everybody there.
That's absolutely right. Many of our students choose Valencia because it's an economical choice. You can complete the first 2 years of your college degree for just about $6,000 in tuition costs. So many of our students choose to start at Valencia because it makes financial sense.
Right. Dr. Polinsky, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.